OK, now, a Conservative leader on the other side, Kemi Badenoch, will pledge to cut government spending to restore her party's economic credibility.
Yes, in her speech today, she's going to promise to commit half of spending cut profits towards reducing borrowing. And she's going to pledge to scrap debt-trapping art degrees.
OK, a clear dividing line will also be created between the Conservatives and Reform UK, following rumblings of a Tory Reform pact.
On the issue of immigration, Kemi Badenoch has been speaking with our political editor, Christopher Hope, and warning that high immigration levels damage communities. Let's take a listen.
Small boats were not caused by Tory policies. They're small boats in France. They're in Italy. There is a problem with global mass migration. We tried lots of things to fix it. They didn't work. People saw that we ended up, the courts, stopping us from doing that. That's why we're leaving the ECHR, because we're tired of people using the courts to frustrate the democratic will. But you will remember that before small votes, it was channel migrants coming through the tunnel. We fixed that. We stopped that, so we can do it again.
OK, now on the issue of immigration, Kemi Badenoch spoke with our political editor, Christopher Hope, warning high immigration damages the country. Let's have a listen.
Today I've uncovered dozens of judges with links to Open Borders charities who take to social media to broadcast their Open Borders views, who spent their whole careers fighting to keep illegal migrants in this country. It's like finding out halfway through a football match that the ref is actually a season ticket holder for the other side.
That was the Shadow Justice Secretary, Robert Jenrick, talking there about pro-migrant bias in the Judiciary, he says.
We're joined now by Conservative Party Chair Kevin Hollinrake. Kevin, good to see you today. How are you feeling? How do you think the conference is going?
Good morning. It's gone very well, very optimistic, very upbeat. There's been great speeches, great new policies announced on controlling our borders, stronger borders, but crucially a stronger economy is a huge dividing line between ourselves and every other party in terms of controlling public spending, cutting taxes and balancing the books. So people are very enthused and excited by that.
Well, that's good to hear, because we've been seeing reports, seeing photos online of half-empty conference halls and reports that the atmosphere has been really flat this year. And then, of course, we saw 20 Tory councillors yesterday, didn't we, defect to Reform. It feels as though these defections just keep on coming, like rats fleeing a sinking ship.
Have you had a random call lately from a strange number, maybe trying to sell you something or even scam you? If so, your info could be out there. That's because of data brokers, shady companies that scrape the internet for your personal details and sell them to marketers or even scammers. These days, scammers can even use AI to mimic your friends' voices and trick you into sending money. It's not just annoying. Data brokers often target vulnerable people with high-interest loans or sketchy offers. But there is a solution. Incogni, the sponsor of this video. Incogni contacts data brokers on your behalf and requests your info be deleted from their databases. And because your data can keep popping up, Incogni keeps sending removal requests to make sure it stays gone. They've just launched a new unlimited plan with custom removals. If you find your info on a weird website, just send them the link and their privacy team will work to get it taken down. Getting started is easy. Hit the link in the description, create your account and let Incogni handle the rest. It's risk-free for 30 days and you'll get 60% off an annual plan with the code GBNews. Take back control of your data with Incogni.
Well, if you came and took some pictures of this conference hall this morning, you would see it fairly empty because it's very early in the morning. But every time I've been through the conference hall, in the events, on the main stage, the conference has been very well attended, and the atmosphere has been very upbeat. And the people I've spoken to are very enthused what they've heard this week. And it's clearly Kemi has taken her time to make sure we have properly thought out policies, properly costed plans. That's the right way to do things. The way to be popular is to do that kind of way rather than be populist, which is completely different, which is just grabbing for policies for headlines. We're very clear. Kemi's got the right approach. She's got the backbone to do the right things. crucially, that's about the stronger economy and stronger borders. And we're setting out today these plans for a golden rule, which will reduce taxes, but crucially will reduce debt, which also adds to taxes because of the huge cost of borrowing. So I think of all the things we can be trusted on, and that I think are many, above all, we can be trusted on the economy, and that's what we're talking about today.
Kevin, can you be trusted on immigration, though? You're talking about being populist, and obviously some would argue that what Robert Jenrick said about white faces on Handsworth in Birmingham, that could be straight out of the Reform playbook.
Yes, we can be trusted on immigration. We made our mistakes in the past, but there was never a failure of intention. It was a failure of execution. You know, we were stopped at every turn by all the other parties. So Labour, Liberal Democrat, when we tried to legislate for the Rwanda plan, they opposed all those plans. We finally passed them just before the general election. And as soon as Labour took office, they scrapped those plans. So if you want a party that will deal with these things properly, you need to vote for a Conservative government. That's what we believe, and that's the plans we set out this week.
Do you agree with what Robert Jenrick said about Birmingham, and he didn't see any other white faces?
Well, it was stating an absolute fact. There are some communities around the country that it is a mono-ethnic, and that's not something that I think any of us can be comfortable with. You know, we want to make sure we have a diverse community. That's good, but it should be integrated. And I think there are lots of communities around the UK that are not integrated. This isn't isolated to Birmingham, and there are other communities. You go to Dewsbury, you go to Bradford, you go to Leicester, and it's not just about skin colour. This is about culture. We don't want a situation where people are living separate lives, parallel lives with a completely different culture, wanting a different kind of society. We don't want to.
To be fair to Robert, he did say this is nothing to do with skin colour. However, his comments have caused a lot of upset, and to many that sounds as racist language.
Well, he said it wasn't to do with skin colour. How can that then be racist?
That's how it's been interpreted by many, despite him qualifying the fact that it's not about skin colour by saying very boldly that I didn't see any other white faces. To many, that has been interpreted as old-school racism.
I don't think that's right at all. He said very clearly this wasn't about skin colour. This is about culture. We see it around different communities, different parts of the UK, where you're seeing a different culture emerging, deliberately isolated around things like cousin marriage and things like Sharia courts and things like hate preachers. You are seeing this, and we want our communities to be properly integrated. That's what he was saying, and I absolutely agree with that. There are, of course, when you say something like that, when you confront these issues rather than running away from them, some people will say that's outrageous. I don't think that's outrageous. I think it's merely stating the facts.
Mr. Hollinrake, can I ask you about a story that's been dominating the papers in the past few days? That is the collapse of this China spy trial. If people aren't familiar, this is a case against two men who were suspected of spying for China, and it collapsed after the government refused to declare China as an active threat. Well, the Director of Public Prosecutions has spoken out against this is Stephen Parkinson, saying that China has effectively been handed carte blanche to spy on Britain. Would you agree with those comments?
Yes, I do. And the government failed to say that China is a threat to national security. I don't think anybody who's thinking about these things properly can say that China is not a threat to our national security, and that's whether it's these kind of spying that's going on in our country, but also if you look at what Labour has done in terms of the potential for this Chinese super embassy in the heart of London, where it won't reveal its plans and what it intends to do with this huge embassy, and I don't think anybody is comfortable with that apart from Keir Starmer. I mean, I think it's outrageous that we won't stand up to China, and that we seem to think the only way to grow our economy is to cosy up to them. I think that's the wrong thing to do, and the government's been completely shown up again in terms of its inability to show any backbone when you're approaching these kind of issues, such as a national security threat from China.
Kevin, one very quick final question for you. Robert Jenrick has had big audiences, queues around the block to get into his speeches. Is he going to be the leader to take you into the next election, or will Kemi remain in place?
We've got a great leader in Kevin Hollinrake. She'll be the leader into the next election. One thing that we are completely distinct from any other party, we have an excellent team. Rob's an excellent member of that team. If you look at all the other parties, including Reform, of course, as a complete one-man band, we've got a great team. That's what really builds success, and I'm delighted to be part of it.
OK, Kevin Hollinrake, thank you
Kevin.
very much for joining us this morning on the programme.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.